Yo guys, what's up? Today we're going to talk about the 3 mistakes I made in my first year as an entrepreneur. Let me tell you something. I was reflecting on the mistakes that I made along the way to write this show. And I was reflecting for some time because I've made a lot of them. And I made a lot of mistakes in the first year. And I think that teaching through mistakes is a superpower. It's a vulnerability. So let's get into the show telling you about the top 3 mistakes I made as a first-year entrepreneur. What's up, guys? My name's Chris Warrens, founder of Warrior Consulting, and I help entrepreneurs in their first year hit the 7-figure mark and scale past to the multi-million-dollar mark. And I work with entrepreneurs internationally on how to do so with them and their teams. Listen, on this channel, I'm going to teach you exactly how we do that, tips, tricks, and the secrets. So enjoy the show. First major mistake I made as an entrepreneur in my first year was I didn't have an LLC. If I remember correctly, I'm almost positive that I filed as a sole proprietor. I believe that's what I did. I didn't actually check my tax statements prior to this show, but I do know that I did not have a formal entity, which most business owners would open an LLC, a limited liability company, for small business anyways. And the big mistake that I made was not that I had any money, but the little bit of money that I had, maybe $1,000, wasn't protected. Okay. So if you have an LLC, the LLC fundamentally acts as a barrier against lawsuits. So if someone were to sue you as a business owner and you didn't have an LLC, they could come after your personal assets like your house, your car, your bank accounts, your retirement funds, all sorts of things. Filing for an LLC puts a barrier in place. And if someone sues you as a business owner and you have an LLC, they can't penetrate that barrier very easily. I mean, it can be done and you got to spend a lot of money to do it, but 99% of the time they can't do it. And all of your personal assets, your house, your cars, your vacation home, your retirements, your so on and so forth, your IRAs can't be touched. Only the business assets can. So I, looking back on things, totally should have had an LLC and I didn't have one. So that is the first mistake that I made as a first-year entrepreneur. And I offer to you to understand, definitely have an LLC. All right, second and third mistake are going to be similar, but I'm separating them a little bit. The second mistake I made as an entrepreneur in my first year was I didn't hire anyone to help me. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but looking back on things, God, I wish I had a mentor or a coach or even a mastermind to have been a part of, to help guide me and tell me the things that I didn't know, like, Chris, you need to have an LLC, among other things. It actually wasn't until year 10 that I hired my first 2 coaches. So that first decade, I had no one telling me how to do business, how to grow, how to scale, how to do anything. And looking back on things, it was a huge mistake. I now work with, as you guys know, entrepreneurs, a lot of them in their first year or first 5 years or first 10 years. And thinking about the people that I coach now, I use this bullet point of not hiring someone in my first year to help me as one of the biggest mistakes that I made in my career, because the people that I work with in their first year are absolutely knocking it out of the park because they have someone guiding them and they understand the value of having a coach telling you what not to do to avoid the landmines and the costly mistakes like not having an LLC and being sued and losing all your personal assets. So at bare minimum, I wish I had joined a mastermind. Definitely to have hired a coach or a mentor. And that is my second biggest mistake that I made as an entrepreneur in year 1. Number 3, biggest mistake that I made as an entrepreneur in year 1 was not networking with other people and business owners. I didn't understand what networking meant. Probably, honestly, for the first decade. I just didn't, for whatever reason, just didn't understand the concept. I had learned the concept, but I didn't understand the concept of networking with other business owners and networking with people that can help you and your business grow, and vice versa. You help them and their business grow. And that's networking, right? And I just, I had something to prove, and I was driven by ego, and I probably thought I could do it all because I did business school in undergrad and business school in grad school. And, I thought that education was what I needed and was superior. And, I was completely wrong. It's like really wrong. And, now as I reflect back on making shows like this and, teaching the topic of networking in my mastermind and with my clients, I really wish that I had understood the concept to the capacity that I do now, would have implemented it. I believe my mindset was driven by ego in my first year. And, I still had a lot of personal demons to deal with, coming out of combat a year prior to that. I came home from my second tour in Iraq, a combat tour in 2007. And by 2008, I was starting my personal training and building my first business. So there's a lot of things that I had to move past, and I was definitely driven by ego, and I definitely was making mistakes when it came to networking, not having a coach, and not having an LLC. And that's just the truth. And that is why I put these top 3 things together about my biggest mistakes in my first year, to be able to show you guys that if you are making these mistakes, it's very natural. And some of us care enough to put this type of content out to hopefully help you avoid the mistakes that we made. All right, guys, those are the 3 biggest mistakes I made in my first year. My point to this show is to teach you guys, if you're in year 5, let alone year 1, and you are making some of these mistakes, I would highly advise to execute on the knowledge immediately. And if you have questions about it or have comments about it, ask me below, drop a comment, definitely smash that like button. And if you're not subscribed, guys, we'd be grateful to have you. Hit subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.